Hello again, artists. For this project, we are going to be working on radial art, or symmetrical art. Symmetrical art is when something is the same on all sides. But with radial, instead of it being left and right or top and bottom, everything within a circle is all symmetrical. Usually, you start from the center and work your way outwards. One example of radial balance, and I'm sure you remember from us doing this in past projects, would be a mandala. You know those adult coloring books where the designs are circles and filled with beautiful patterns? Sometimes they're flowers, but in this case, we are going to be making a snowflake. To start, we're going to gather our materials. You're going to need 2 pieces of white paper, pencil, scissors, and instead of tracing with black, we're going to be tracing with blue or purple. To get started, you're going to start with 1 piece of paper, and we're going to fold it into quarters. This is going to help us keep that symmetrical pattern. We're going to fold it in half once, and then fold that in half to make a small card. Once you have those creases, you can open it back up. And we are going to do the same thing for the other paper. I'll put this one aside. And then fold it in half. The reason that we're doing this with 2 papers is because one paper is going to be the one that we draw on, and the other one is going to turn into a stencil. Each year, I introduce a project with my students about image transfer, which is creating a design and using your pencil to shade and transfer that image, and that's exactly what we'll be doing. For this paper, I want you to take your scissors, and what we're going to do is we're just cutting out one of these quarters. You want to try really hard to make sure that you are cutting on the line. Since we only need one, I'm going to take this paper, fold it back up, and put it aside, just in case I decide to change my design and try something new. Now that we have our one paper, to make our job a little easier, what we should do is turn this rectangle into a square. To do that, we are going to take this top corner and we're going to bring it down, much like how we did with our origami projects. So we're going to line this side up against the bottom. Let's take that top corner, bring it down, and we're trying to line it up neatly here to make a clean point. Once you have it neatly, you can press it down, take your scissors, and trim off that extra rectangle that you have. Open that paper up, and you should have a square. It's okay if it is not perfect. We're going to do the best we can, but we are going to be using this and basically rotating it around to transfer our image. Okay. To start, we are going to pick a corner that we want to be our main corner. For that, I think I'll choose this corner, and you are going to start with a design. Remember, you do not have to copy my design. You can do whatever you want. The only catch is that you need to work from the corner. Watch as I start. I want my corner, or my center of my snowflake, to be somewhat of like a star. Then maybe I'll put some kind of weird wavy line. Since I have this fold here, I'm going to use that almost like a point. I am going to make a diamond shape. And since I have these corners, I'm going to use those too. I'm going to make half diamond shapes. And you'll see as we put it all together why I'm choosing to do the half shape. Then I'm going to make some simple circles. And maybe inside those shapes, I'll put a little star design. Again, yours does not have to look exactly like mine. You are the artist. I think I'm going to keep my design simple because I will be tracing over this several times. What you should do next is take your design and we're going to flip it over. This is where we begin our transfer. What you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil and you are going to shade all over the back of this paper. Make sure you keep it pretty dark, that way when you transfer it you won't have any problem seeing your design. If you don't put enough graphite, when you press down and try and transfer it, it'll be too light and it'll just make it that much harder to do. Now that I have finished inking or covering this with graphite, I'm going to take my original copy with the 4 quadrants and I'm going to turn my snowflake over. I want to make sure that the part that I need to be the center is touching the center of our design. From here, you're going to take your pencil again and you're going to trace over your original lines, pressing pretty hard, because what we're doing is we're pushing that graphite on the back of this paper onto our new paper. Make sure that you really check to make sure that you've covered over all of your original lines, because if you pick up this paper and try and line it back up again, it just won't work. And you're going to have a design that is not radial balanced. Okay, now that I have traced my lines, I'm double checking to make sure I have traced them all. And you can tell because they're going to keep getting darker and darker. I'm going to put my pencil down and slowly peek behind, and you can see that my image has transferred over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward through these next steps to transfer this image into each one. Since I had it here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it, transfer, rotate it, transfer, and rotate it and transfer again. Now that I have finished my design, I am going to begin outlining. Here you're going to have a choice. You can use a marker, like I am going to use, or you can use crayon. Because I'm going to be painting this, I could choose to use crayon because I want to keep my lines really nice and neat with that wax resist technique, but if I use marker, which is water soluble or washable, when it gets wet it might spread a little bit. For this project, I don't think I would mind if my marker spread a little bit because it's just going to have this really nice and delicate look to it. So that's why I'm going with a marker. I'm also choosing the color blue because when I paint my picture, I'm going to use different blues and purples to create a really cool colored design. Again, you can use any color you want and any material you wish. Through this, I'm going to fast forward as I outline so you can see the next step.